Here we start with the Digital Marketing Summit with AI presentation. My presentation. I'm Volkan Hacıoğlu, Associate Professor from Istanbul University, Faculty of Economics. And today, as an introduction, the theme is Foundations of Digital Marketing in the AI Era. And my presentation will be focused on this theme, the evolving digital marketing landscape, especially as the background and the foundation of digital marketing. And the name of my presentation is Networks Beyond Markets. From boundaries and limits of traditional market structure, we begin and then analyze the classical financial system to the digital economies. Here we can focus on tangible versus intangible goods as far as they are concerned with fungibility. It's an important concept for this fungibility. And then move on to the token trading and non-fungible token, NFTs, and they are very prevalent now in the marketplace, especially electronic marketplace networks. And of course, information economies and service innovation systems in era defined by AI, dynamics, and Bayesian learning. These are the main topics I will cover during this brief presentation session. So, first of all, we need to look at a classical example. This is from Adam Smith's well-known phrase from his book, Wealth of Nations. It is the division of labor is limited by the extent of the market. This phrase is important in its own sense, but we will work upon them in a different manner, as you will see a little later. So we have a passage here from the book Wealth of Nations. I should just try to peruse some sentences, not all of the passage, but as it is the power of exchanging that gives occasion to the division of labor, so the extent of this division must always be limited by the extent of that power, or in other words, by the extent of the market. So Smith understands the extent of the market with that extent of that power, which gives occasion to the division of labor. Here we have important insight for our digital marketing, because what Smith understands as the market power is somewhat different from our own era. Here, the division of labor is limited by the extent of the market phrase continues with another passage. And I will again read some sentences. There are some sorts of industry, even of the lowest kind, which can be carried on nowhere but in a great town. A porter, for example, can find employment and subsistence in no other place. A village is by much too narrow a sphere for him. Even an ordinary market town is scarce large enough to afford him constant occupation. In the lone houses and very small villages which are scattered about in so deserted a country as the Highlands of Scotland. Here, so far, you see there are some geographical areas in Smith's phrase. You see a village and large enough to market town. As you see here, I can highlight some parts, and small village. So we understand that Adam Smith sees market related with geographical area, but today networks beyond markets are somewhat different from this conception. For this reason, we will try to understand this transformation, digital transformation, in a different manner. So let's look at another modern article. This article uses the phrase, Adam Smith's phrase, for its heading. The writer, author of the article is George Stigler, and his journal article runs the heading, the division of labor is limited by the extent of the market. As you see, it is just same sentence of the Smith. Stigler uses the same sentence as the heading title of his article, and continues to analyze the market power from monopolistic manner. This is the modern approach to Smith's classical phrase. But furthermore, we will do another thing to understand our era. The extent of the market is limited by the division of labor. This is somewhat different form. The reversal of Adam Smith's proposition in the form of causality structure highlights the foundations of digital marketing in the AI era. So we just reverse the sentence, as you see. The extent of the market is limited by the division of labor. Now it runs like this. The original form of the sentence was the division of labor is limited by the extent of the market. We just changed it. So networks beyond markets redefine traditional markets with a perspective from the broadening borders of e-markets and digital marketing approach. Digital marketing with AI comes about Bayesian learning opportunities and digital innovation systems. For this reason, in the following diagram, the scaling law function is defined as the reciprocal of learning curve. Here we have scaling law function defined in the reciprocal form of learning curve. As you will notice, on the vertical axis, we have generalization error in a log scale basis, and on the horizontal axis, we have training data set size, again in log scale basis. In the training data set size, we have slow phase, steep phase, and plateau phase, and these three phases correspond to small data region and the power law region and irreducible error region. Here we can conclude with some sentences our understanding of digital markets as the foundation. The digital marketing landscape again creates multiple dimensions to discover in an era of AI, artificial intelligence. Definition of traditional market structure is no longer useful for economic analysis. Hence, ever-changing and broadening borders of digital markets need new definitions as networks beyond markets determine digital dynamics. The use of AI opens doors for new opportunities with Bayesian learning, and scaling law function, defined in the reciprocal form of learning curve, allows us to understand how big data determines learning phases and abilities of individual agents. Here our references run in the form. We used Adam Smith to conclude or to review in a short way. We just took a sentence, classical sentence from Adam Smith, and then reversed it, and then adapted it to the scaling law function, which is defined as the reciprocal of learning curve. And for this, Stigler used the same sentence, or Adam Smith's same sentence, as his article's title, but he uses this title for monopolistic setting. But we used it in digital markets to understand digital markets, to analyze digital markets, and I think this approach is different from other modern examples. So I think my time is already over, and thank you for listening my presentation.